If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
All right, folks, welcome to Larry Zoom, and today's host is going to be none other than me and Mr. Announcer. Ta-da! So anyway, all right, today who do we have? Let me see. Okay, it's Colby. All right, Mr. Colby, he's going to talk a little bit about, I guess, calligraphy. Is that correct?
Yes. So I started with my journey in penmanship through collecting fountain pens, and as I got more interested in fountain pens, I wanted to improve my handwriting more.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I started to learn cursive writing.
Okay.
At that time, I was in the 10th grade, and I had absolutely no idea how to write any sort of cursive. And I went to my English teacher in the 10th grade, and I asked her about it. And she went into her closet, and she got a little strip of Palmer method cursive that you would glue to your desk when you were in 3rd grade or so, and she gave it to me. And I took that and I used it to learn cursive for the first time. And at that point, I wanted to learn cursive so that I can improve my studies in school because I was struggling a little bit. And as I learned cursive, I found myself to be more interested in arts. And after that, I started to look into graphic design as a career choice. And when I graduated from high school, I went to college for graphic design. And as I was studying graphic design, I incorporated my calligraphy into pretty much everything that I worked on. I wanted to bring the digital world back to the more traditional arts of the calligraphy. And as I was studying in college, the whole time I was very interested in making my own pen holders, because I figured if I could make my own pens, I would be able to improve my writing better. And at the time, I had no access to any sort of really professional or any dedicated woodworking tools. So I started out by making pens out of clay. And they were not very refined pieces, but they scratched the itch at the time. And after I started making them out of clay, it was probably close to a year after that, I finally convinced my parents to get me a lathe for Christmas. And that was in the winter of 2018 that I started wood turning. And ever since then, whenever I had the chance while I was in college, I would come home and make calligraphy pens. As I was making the pens, the year of 2019, I decided that the first time that I would sell pens would be at the Denver, Colorado IMPETH convention. So all the year leading up to that, I was making as many pens as I could so that I could show them off at that convention. And up to that point, I really had never seen a really good calligraphy pen. So the pens that I took there, they were pretty beautiful, but they were lacking in some of the more important parts of calligraphy pens. After that, I really started to dedicate myself completely to mastering the art of making these pens. When I got back from the IMPETH convention, I started to study a whole lot more of the different processes of making the pens. And once I started to get more professional looking results from my pen holders, I went around to calligraphy businesses that were close by, and I pitched my pen holders to them. And the first one that I was able to sell at was John Neal Books in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I was able to start selling pens there, and that really helped push me to keep making myself better at these pen holders. Since then, I do a very wide range of pen holders in different sizes and different materials and different techniques. I really love to experiment with textures in my pen holders, and I'll start to screen share now, and I can start to show the process of how I go about making a pen holder. Let's see. Close this. So,
okay.
When I
now, did you do this, Colby?
Yes, this is a art that I actually did this on an iPad, but I do have quite a lot of traditional work too. This is just this is one of my more recent works. But with the when I make a pen holder, I first start with a long piece of wood that is 3/4 by 3/4 and however many feet long, and I will cut it down into little square blocks, and I will take these blocks and I will find the center point of them. Once I find the center point of them, I will go and I will drill a hole directly in the center, and then that hole, and then I'll drill the hole into a bunch of, each piece, and I will run a dowel through every piece, and I will join each piece together to make a whole pin. And after that point, we will go and glue it together. And once it's finished gluing, I will put it on my lathe. A lathe works by spinning the wood at a very high speed, and I approach it with a tool, and it will slowly chip it away until it's round. I have what's called a four-jaw chuck, which will grip the wood on each side very tightly, and then I can turn the pin from that point. These are some of the tools that I have. All of these tools I have modified in some way. It's for pin making, like I do. It's not many people make specialized tools for it. None that I know of. So I have to make my own tools to be more efficient at what I'm doing. So I've made all these handles, and then some of the gouges I have carved out of steel on the bench grinder. So with my pen holders, I like to experiment a lot with different processes or different techniques. And one of my favorite is brass inlays on my pen holders. I'll show this pin on video later. And this is one of my favorite. It is a combination of a lot of interests of mine. One being calligraphy pens, obviously, and then this inlay is the pattern off of a shoes toe medallion, a leather dress shoes. So I was able to take these two things and bring them together into in one piece of art. Another technique that I really love that I started to do was opal inlays. These opal inlays shine just beautifully on black wood. When I was in college, I took 2 years of jewelry making, and while I was studying that, I got to learn a whole lot about different techniques that jewelers would use to make their jewelry pieces, and I saw the opal inlay, and I really wanted to try and incorporate it in my pins, and these have been very popular. I really love making them.
Let me ask a question real quick, Colby. How long does it take you to make one of these nib holders?
So, depending on the complexity of the glue up, it can take pretty much any pin shouldn't take me more than an hour to do the blank. And most of the time, I'm starting to do more bulk blanks where I'll glue up several of the same blank so that I can have multiples. But something like this pin, this would take me maybe 15 minutes to make the blank for, but then I have to let it glue up overnight. Then to turn the pin, depending on the finish, to turn the pin to shape, it would take me maybe 30 minutes. And then to apply the finish, it can take anywhere from maybe 2 minutes to an hour to apply the finish, especially when I have to polish it with CA, or if I have to do a French polish, that's my slowest process. To apply shellac, to get a very, very nice finish, it takes quite a long time. This is another technique that I really love. I think this is the second one of these finials that I've made. And this is based off of an antique design where this piece of brown wood goes all the way through each of these pieces, and I have to glue them on after I've turned it round. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I don't always do it like that. Sometimes I'll do it slightly differently. But to file these finials into squares or octagons is really fun for me. I have one right here. I'll show it later, but it has a square finial similar to it. A big thing for me is that I absolutely love the history of these antique pin holders. And when I started, I really wanted to own some of these antique pin holders, and they're so incredibly rare. It's taken me the entire time to be able to collect just the few that I have. I really want to be able to document each of these antique pin holders and be able to replicate them for other people to have. And starting from the left, this is it doesn't have a specific name, but it is a triangular holder. The one beside it is a Zenarian. It's a Zenarian Expert Oblique. Then this right here. I don't want to. Those are the two ones that I know the least of. Is it on here? I think this one is also called an Expert Oblique. No, okay. This one is a Fine Writer. This one is an Expert Oblique. These are Zenarian Fine Arts. This is a Magnuson. This is also a Magnuson, and this is a Strom. I replicate each of these pin holders, but they're really hard to find. I just recently found this Magnuson, and it takes me several months to be able to find one of them, if not years. I've been searching for the Magnuson for 3 years, but one that I currently replicate on demand is the Zenarian Fine Art, and I try to be as close to the original as possible. There are some things that you can't replicate, being the tail on the original is made out of Brazilian rosewood. Brazilian rosewood has been heavily overforested and is illegal to transport over borders, so you can't import that anymore. The red is it's redwood from, I believe they were from the massive redwood trees on the west coast. Then the yellow is boxwood. I can get boxwood, but it's I like the yellow heart just as well. And then the white, sometimes it was ivory, and sometimes it was imitation ivory. I don't use any actual ivory, but I do use what is called vegetable ivory. It comes from a tree nut that I use. It's a very cool material that I've discovered. Trying to get as close as I can with them. I wanted to be able to use a rosewood for the handle, which sacrifices some of the deep red color, but it gives a much tighter grain. This is another antique replica that I really like. This is a pin holder by Kelchner, who was a teacher at the Zenarian College. These are terribly difficult to glue up. This one is one of the pins that would have taken me probably an hour to make the entire blank. But it's a incredible pin to be able to see. So let's see. So for what's that? For pin holders, we have three different main options for the hourglass shaped pin holders. You have right-handed, straight, and then left-handed. Straight pin holders are used for any script you could want. You can do pretty much anything with a straight holder. Obliques are specialized for doing cursive scripts. Things like Spencerian or just ornamental penmanship. Some water. Left-handed pin holders are a little more tricky because lefties tend to have very unique grip styles. So this is the most universal left-handed style, but there are many variations that you can't find.
Real quick, after a while, you're going to talk about the nibs, correct?
Yes, I'm just about to start.
When you do that, yeah, I'm sure there's people that are going to want to ask questions about them. And Marilyn Hunt, that's when you come in. Bam, flex and all that. Remember, yeah, I'm curious to hear more input on them.
So with the pointed nibs, which these are from John Neal Books, this is a very good sampler of nibs. I've used almost all of these, and they're all very good. With the nibs, you can use them in either the straight or the obliques, and they work just well, or as well as you would want. But with these italic nibs, you only want to use these in the straight holders. You could theoretically use them in the obliques, but I don't know if there's any real benefit to it. But these types of nibs you want to use in a straight holder. These are on paper and ink arts. Now, with obliques, the most important part about an oblique pin holder is the flange. And with these nibs, some of them are longer, some of them are smaller, shorter. When you insert the nib into the flange, you want to make sure that it is reaching the center axis of the pin holder. So with any flange, it's not possible to make it truly universal. But you just want to make sure that the nib is reaching the center.
I found that there are some nibs that are kind of off center, which is sometimes annoying.
Yeah. With some, it can be subjective with the nib placement, because you'll see in a lot of antique pin holders that the nib does not actually meet the center axis. And I did just recently make a pin holder for a lefty who prefers his nib is set slightly over the center.
No.
But generally speaking, for most people, you'd want it to be in the center. Then this is another subjective thing on pin holders, but you want to make sure that the cant of the flange can be adjusted as you like. And some people like it to be more more angled upwards, because when you hold the pin, it will be a little more comfortable to hold, or it can be a little more comfortable. And what I get a lot of questions on is how to tighten and loosen your flange. The thing that I absolutely love about brass flanges is that they are pretty much infinitely adjustable for different size nibs. Even if the length of it is different, you can bend the brass so that it will form to any nib you want. I have a video of this too, but you have to be able, you can just bend these flanges so that they will be a little tighter or a little looser for when you're working. Here's a little video I recorded of it. It's not perfect, but you'll be able to see it. You want to squeeze the flange to tighten it. And then you want to push upward and pull it apart to loosen it. And that will make it so that you can fit any nib that you want into it. Now,
Are they difficult to make?
flanges, they're not difficult to make, but they are difficult to polish. I actually brought my stuff up here to show how I make a flange. And for these, I'll go back to this real quick. For these types of nibs, you're going to be writing scripts like this type of italic. This is the source for this. This type of italic script is what you would write with these types of nibs. This is a type of Italian script. I can't remember the exact type of script it is, but this would be written with a straight holder, and you would hold the straight holder at an angle or a different angle. Let's see. I'll switch to my camera now, and we can go. I can show how I. Right. So this is actually the blank from the pictures earlier. I have to drill a hole into each one, and then I bring them together with this dowel rod. A little tight, but that's good. Bring each piece together. You have a pen holder. Blank. Now, for the flanges, I start off with these pieces of brass. These are a tenth of, I can't remember the actual, I think it's 10,000ths of an inch thick. And take these flat nose pliers. But you take these pieces, you go right in the middle, over to my side, bend it so that you have a piece like this. Again, you squeeze it just a little bit to get it tight, but there's still a gap. And I take these specialized, what's called? These are called
Jeweling.
yes. I think my professor called them jump ring pliers or something.
Yeah.
But you take it and then you bend it over the smaller piece. You have this J shape. You take this, the other pliers, and you bend it upward. Now, when you look at, I'll zoom in a little bit. When you look at it now, you see that it is tight right over here. So what I have to do is I take these and I just squeeze a little bit and it evens it out. That makes it perfect for an EF principal nib. It's perfect. Now I would cut this off and I would cut it at an angle so I could put it into a pin, but I don't have that right now. But go over here and I will grab a different nib that I can show how to adjust the flange. See, here's a little tiny nib. So don't have, here's one. Now, this, let's see if it fits. Now that's very loose. I can just pop it through there. So if I wanted to adjust it, I would take it and I would just squeeze it just a little bit. Now it's tight. Set it as deep as I want it. And it fits just tight as can be. But now the other nib won't fit. That won't fit no matter what. So I just have to take it, squeeze it out just a little bit. Now that fits. Just tight.
So pressure won't push that through?
It's just a teeny tiny bit loose still, which you can adjust that. But when you're writing, you're pretty much always pulling. But it's not going to push it through. I'm pushing pretty hard and it's not going. You just have to make sure it's just tight enough. If you get it too tight, then you're going to have to use pliers to remove it, which I've done before. But there are different types of flanges. Let's see. This is one of my preferred styles of flanges. This is called a Strom flange. This holds the nib at a lower angle than the standard flange. This is a antique style that not many people do. But I really love this style because it's more comfortable for flourishing. But let's see. You can see the cant on this one too is a little more upward pointing. Then we have what's known as a bullock flange. These are adjusted with a screwdriver, and they're called universal. You can use. Oh, do I have a screwdriver up here? I don't think I do. I think I moved it. But this is made by two pieces of brass that are sandwiched together, and the screw will apply force like this, and it lets you fit any nib that you would want into them. Another thing that makes these interesting is that you can use crow quill nibs in them. I don't know if I have any crow quills up here. Thought I did. Oh, some right here. There's one. Now, crow quills are super delicate pin holder, or super delicate nibs. They're very tiny, even compared to, where did I sit it? Compared to an EF principal nib. They're just really tiny little things. And they're round, so you can't fit. Oh, did my camera turn off? There we go. They're round, so you can't use these in a standard straight holder or oblique. But the bullock flanges have this handy spot on the bottom that is made to be able to fit them. Let's see. There it goes. And this will hold the nib just tight enough. I mean, I don't use these very often, but some people do. I think that's all the types of flanges that I have. Over. I do nickel silver flanges. Nickel silver is the material that would have been used on the antique pin holders. Nickel silver is a very hard material. Once it's installed on the flange, it's pretty much impossible to adjust, which is why brass is much more common. But the color is just so beautiful. I still use it on some pins. I have a real interest currently ergonomic pin holders. This is a Strom pin holder. I've done closer replicas, but I really am enjoying doing these more ergonomic shapes. Just a few more. These are ergonomic pin holders. Are meant to hold your hand at the they're meant to force your hand into a certain traditional grip style, which is why they were popular. They're incredibly comfortable to hold. They fit into your hand just perfectly, and they really just pull your hand into them. Their thing with them is they have a flat on one side for your thumb, and then they have this little groove here to hold your middle finger, and then they have a nice flat area on top for your index. I really love making these. I think they're good for. I feel like they would be good for a beginner or a more experienced person. But I really like these. And there's another option that I do, which is the black flange. This is brass still, but it's been blackened with a chemical process. I do that myself. It's interesting.
Cool.
Are there any questions?
Do you write in calligraphy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't do very much in italic scripts, but I do a lot in cursive scripts. My style of writing is not a very I guess it's not by the books, I'd say. I like to combine a lot of different scripts together.
Me too.
I can write This is, I do make my own inks, but I really love the Pelican inks. The 4000 series are very nice for writing. It's just a little bit of this, but get down in there with this ergonomic. That is one of the downsides to ergonomics, is that you can't fit them in the inkwells
Yeah.
or the obliques. But with these, it's a lot easier. This is some ink that
That's why you
made.
gotta get yourself a dinky dip.
Yeah, I have heard of those, but I've never used one.
I got these.
I do sell inks, but I don't sell them online yet. I just sell them in person. This is the right way. It's going to be upside down. This is the wrong nib. I have so many of these EF principal nibs laying around that it's easy to get them mixed up. If you're just starting with calligraphy, you'll probably notice that the ink will not stick to your nibs. When this happens, you need to
Clean your
remove
nib.
the oils. There's several different ways that people do it. I'm partial to just using a little bit of saliva. It's a little grosser, but it works the best in my opinion. Might need to clean this one.
Either that or you have too much
I might not have shaken it off.
ink
Your
on your
camera went
nib.
off again.
There we go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What do you often use the calligraphy ink? Or do you primarily use fountain pen ink?
I don't have very much fountain pen ink. The only fountain pen ink I currently have is the Pelican ink. I've used some Parker inks, but I don't have any right now. I use a lot of gouaches. Gouaches are wonderful for calligraphy.
Gouache is like a paint for making art with in
Yes,
a
gouache.
tube. And you squish it out and make a slurry with that and water.
Mm-hmm. It's a slightly thicker watercolor, I say.
Yeah. And
This is very...
most of them have opacity to them. They're not like transparent like fountain pen inks. And you definitely do not want to put those with a fountain pen.
Yeah.
For those of you watching afterwards.
With this bleed-proof white, this is, I'm sure this is the most popular.
Yeah.
The clean dipstick. You just, it's not difficult to mix it up. When you first start using it,
yeah,
it'll come at about this level, but it will be oh, you can't see that, it's so bright. It'll come at about this level. You just want to pretty much get it pretty close to the top with water and just mix the top layer of the gouache, just like a 1/4 inch in. And you can mix that to a good consistency. It's hard to explain the consistency. You just have to know by using it if it's too thin or too thick.
If it's too thin, it'll fall off the nib and you won't only get 1 or 2 strokes in. And if it's too thick, it won't come off the nib at all. And it should look about like heavy cream.
I always love writing on black. You can't get, you can't print something like this unless you have a lot of ink.
Yeah. So hard to find good black paper.
I just got this from Walmart, actually.
Oh, really?
This
What
is-
kind of paper is that?
don't have the wrapper.
Is it
But
Canson
I think it's
watercolor
Ken or what is it?
multimedia paper?
It's what's it called? Cardstock, maybe? No, it's a little too thin.
I was thinking cardstock or what's that art paper they use, Jake?
Yeah.
Multimedia paper?
See?
You know the kind of art paper they use in art. What is that? Construction paper. That's what I'm trying to say.
Did you pick it up in the school supply section or the arts and crafts section?
I think it was in the well, it was in the back, so it must have been the arts and crafts. It came in a pack of 50, I believe. It was Astro Brights. That's what it was.
Ah, yeah, that's cardstock. That's for making like
Yep.
craft papery things.
It was or that's actually a combination pack. But yes, it was. It was Astro Brights. And yeah, there it goes. It was looking very brown for a second there. Let's see. Now this style of script would. Oh, it's upside down for y'all. I'm so sorry. This type of script would be. Is this mirrored?
No.
No, it's
Okay.
right. Larry's.
It's mirrored on my computer, so I couldn't tell. But this would be classified as ornamental penmanship.
Yep.
Which
Which is like a offshoot of cursive writing.
The history, from what I can remember, which it starts with mixing some stuff around. It starts with the more. Let's see if I can think of these letters off the top of my head. Let's go. I need a straight holder for this. Oblique holders were not.
Often flourishing needs a straight holder. And holding the pen in the almost complete opposite direction than you think that you'd be holding a pen. So instead of going one way, you're going the complete opposite.
Oblique holders were invented around they were invented around 1880, I believe.
Yeah.
So before that, it was pretty much it was always a straight holder or a quill.
Yeah.
So this type of ornamental script, I actually have some specimens behind me, but there's an A. You would start. You would hold the pen at an off angle like this. Doing it the wrong way. Start down, up. Okay. You always want to use a reference, and my reference is behind me. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Change your direction. You would start with this sort of French ronde, and this would turn into a more round hand. And this would have been turned into engrosser script, which is that would have been written with an oblique holder. I want to be but it would turn into engrosser script.
Which is a very squared off type of writing.
Nope. not very many frills with it.
Yeah.
This is more of what I know. Again, sorry that it's upside down. I'll flip it in a moment.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Now, this would turn, it would go from this with the straight holder into this with the oblique. And from this, you would go to the Spencerian script, which Spencerian, I'm not the best at, but it involves a lot of, it is based off of an oval. So when you're doing Spencerian, you do a lot of drills. Starts. Penmanship is not a perfect art. You have to, it takes a lot of practice to even get decent.
And paper wants to cooperate.
These swells are a little too bold. Spencerian is a very delicate script, and my hands are shaking. Oh, sorry. Thank you. This is the first time I've used this camera like this. I just got the adapter in the mail the other day. Spencerian is meant to be written with a lot of arm movement. It is very fast script as opposed to Engrossers, which is a very slow script. But
It is pretty. I like it.
this goes at a little bit steeper of an angle compared to the Engrosser script. And from Spencerian, we get to business penmanship, which is, it would have been written with a straight holder. Or that's actually a pretty a pretty debated topic, whether business script was written with a straight or an oblique. It doesn't really matter, but business penmanship, which is Spencerian, but with pretty, it was Spencerian but simplified.
Oops, forgot my.
Now, let's see. I can show a little bit of the more italic stuff, but I am no expert in the field. Does anyone have any questions?
On the pen making, the holder making, were you self-taught or were you apprentice with someone? Or
So with pen making, there's not too much online about how to do it, but there's one person who has done quite a lot of videos on it. Chris Yoke of the Yoke Pen Company, YOKE, and his videos were very instrumental in me learning. He has helped me through a lot of emails and messages, but I've not gone anywhere and learned. I've just improved slowly over time. And it has been slow, but I got there in the end. Now, this is a really fine one. Do I have... but it'll be okay. So if you write, you want to use baselines, you want to use guidelines. If you're ever doing anything, I don't have them right now, but I wish I did.
It's hard to make guidelines on black paper.
It is. It is a. This is actually.
I got this clear. It's a piece of acrylic from Tool Art, and it has copper plate line graph, and it also has 55-degree lines. So that way you can just use it as a stencil. Plus also having this mat. I got this mat on Amazon. And it has almost a 55-degree line on it, so that's close enough.
There are. I have used quilting patterns or quilting guidelines to draw my lines before. You can find those at some craft stores like Joann's or Hobby Lobby. I really want to get the PA Scribe Paul Antonio lining template, but I don't think he's released them yet.
I gotta tell you, I don't like that thing at all. There's too many parts. You're gonna lose one or the other.
Camera.
This Tool Art was a 3-piece, and it was like $100, and I've never used anything else.
This is
if you're looking for something cheap, that might be the one. Unless you're looking for like 52-degree lines or some weird degree lines.
Not done the script in a while. This is called a foundational hand.
We can barely see her.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
It is really nice.
Amazing.
Really nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You might want to ask now if there's any more questions to finish up.
Do I?
Okay.
I want to ask now to kind of finish up. Are there any more questions?
Oh, he got more to do though. Not even.
We can hear you.
All the whispering going on there, it's no secret what you're saying.
Well, it's not supposed to be a secret. If y'all want to ask questions, go ahead. We don't know how much longer he has. He has a whole lot more left videos, what we're saying. So if you want to hear, that's fine. So no, we're not going to hang up right now. It's got too much going on still.
Oh, wow. The time did fly, didn't it?
It did.
It always
Are there
flies
any
when
more?
you're having fun.
Oh.
What do you? Where can we find your links?
So, let's see. I'll switch back to the screen. So, I didn't even.
Otherwise, it'd
Okay,
have
mine's
that
on.
echoey thing. I was just because Marilyn was starting to take control a little bit.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
So this is my main website where I have my portfolio, and I do sell my pins through here, but it's not always updated. But the ColbyClinePinholders.com is my Etsy. That's always the most updated. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Colby Cline Pinholders. Those are the my main links. I do sell some designs on Redbubble, and have done Facebook, but not right now. But those are the main ones.
Cool.
Here was one other thing to show. Let's see. Do I still have my? Oh. I do like to do engraving. Now, this type of engraving, make the thing bigger so I can see myself. Okay, but this is a type of. Were you talking, Larry? I think you were muted.
Was that saying, Jake? Oh yeah. Go ahead.
About the nibs.
About the nib, yeah.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. No worries. But this is a type of engraving closer to scrimshaw that I do on these tins. I use this tool right here that I made, which is just a piece of steel sharpened to a point. And I can just come in and draw away on these and scratch away the top layer of paint to make these designs.
Excuse me, Colby, you're sharing your screen, but we're not really seeing your camera right now.
Sorry.
So, yep.
I'm not too familiar with Zoom. There we go.
There we go.
But I do this type of engraving closer to scrimshaw on these brass tins, where I'm just removing the top layer of paint to get these designs with this tool.
Cool.
These are just little nib tins that I
I
use.
have one of those.
Oh, that's cute.
I'll be darned. Mine is junky, but yeah.
Oh, camera. That's neat.
I've done. Let's see.
Do you do those freehand, or do you like mark out a design or print it? Or?
Sometimes I do freehand, and sometimes I will draw the design. I actually have one right here where I have the design just drawn on, and then I have one that's actually finished.
Wow, that's awesome.
If it's not calligraphy, I specialize in doing the bird flourishes. I really love doing the flourishes.
And Dr. Joe would like that.
The here.
Alexa, stop. Sorry.
It's over here. So lost in all these pins. There it is. Probably have close to 100 in this box, in my boxes. But here's the blank before and after.
Wow.
So this is based off of another pin by Kelchner. This is called the G pin because the original one had the letter G painted on it. But this is one of my favorite designs. These are incredibly difficult to make. These we're really close. These joints, here I'll use this. I have to use a piece of a tiny brass rod that goes in the middle of this. It starts here, goes this way, then another one goes right up to about there, and into here, then another one goes into there. Up. It takes a lot of effort to make sure that each of these pieces are perfectly centered. Do I not? You can see the lines a little bit on this one, but these are to mark the center for me. But these are, I just started working on these, and I have 7 more to do. But
do you turn those on a lathe?
yes, these are turned on my lathe.
Oh, wow.
the original one would have been painted. It would have been a solid piece of wood with the lines painted on it. So it's almost, it almost defies, it's almost impossible to make a replica of it because the original was not meant to be made with these joints. But we do it. It's not a perfect replica because I accidentally forgot this first black joint here, or black band, but otherwise it's pretty close.
Amazing.
I like it.
These
Can
are
you
a lot
imagine?
of the these are some of my favorite antique designs that I have all the measurements for. I take a lot of effort to make sure that I'm being as faithful as possible to the originals. This is one that I love to show off. This is this is called a Master Magnuson. Colors are off right now, but this joint is absolutely perfect with how tiny it is. Let's see if I can get it in focus. Absolutely tiny compared to, I'll grab a nib. See how perfect. It amazes me that I was even able to do this joint, to be able to get that down that perfectly centered. But it came out. Here's another one. These are very cool to me to have the angled joints. I think I showed this one earlier, but the angled joints are very difficult to do, but they're so beautiful. Here's another one with the angled joints. What? It's throwing everything off. There we go.
There.
Yeah, that's perfect. I like that one too.
This one also was one that was just perfectly centered. I entered this one into a local art show. I was very happy with it. Didn't win anything, but that's okay.
I can't imagine the ones that did win.
What do they win?
I think it was like $2,000 or something.
Wow. Whoa.
But it was a general art show.
I like these.
I'll go through each drawer and I can show off some of them. These are my favorite here. I love. Let's see. This is based off of a black buck. It's a type of antelope. I love the horns on them, and I always like to replicate the horns on it. And this piece of resin is just perfect. There's another one like it. I have quite a few. I don't have many straight holders, but I have a few very nice ones. These are 3 of my nicest straight holders. This one is based off of Tamblin. This one is based off of a Zenarian fine art. And this one is just my own design.
The Zenarian, what wood is that on the end?
So I get a lot of questions about that. This is a piece of burl wood. Oh, sorry, a piece of burl wood that has been double dyed. The burl woods, the grain in them is not solid. It is some parts of it are softer, and some parts are denser. Come on, focus. Some of them are softer, and some of them are more porous. So when you apply dye, some parts will take the dye faster than others. And through that, you can do some very unique dyeing methods. I didn't do this myself. This is I purchased this blank, but or that piece of wood. But the pearl woods are very interesting. This is another one that has a little bit of that.
I like that one. It's a pretty one.
This one too. Though I say that about all my pins. Here's one of those Kelso replicas. This one is a little chunky, but it's still close. Here's another one of those Master Magnussons. I do quite a lot of these, as you can tell. Just have probably 5 or 6 of them in just this drawer.
So if they're tapered so thin, how are they for balance?
So balance is an interesting thing. These, they're pretty much all going to be balanced near the foot. They're all, depending on the wood, some of them can be more back heavy than others. But in pretty much every case, trying to look both ways at once, they're going to be balanced right around the thickest part of the grip. The flange does add a little bit of weight to them, but balance is most important in the long pin. Two of them right here. This one is based off of a Zenarian fine art. It's 12 inches long. The originals, they did sell 12-inch versions of them, but you have to be very patient to make one of these because you have to make the tail just as thin as possible so that the pin balances. Right there. So they're not back heavy.
Have you made any carrot sticks?
I have done some that are thicker. This is one that's really thick. Some. I think this one is I think this is close to 3/4 of an inch thick, but it is quite chunky. This is one of my favorites that I've ever made. I absolutely love the texture on this. I took a lot of inspiration from pottery with the hammered, or not pottery, kettles from the copper tea kettles that they will hammer to shape. I loved all the hammer marks, and I wanted to try and replicate them. The one with my brass inlays.
I like it.
So there we go. I love how they sparkle. I do quite a few of the triangular holders. I love the ergonomic shapes of them. If it'll zoom. This. Come on. There it goes. They're very comfortable to hold. They're just like an ergonomic pin. There are some subtleties to some of them, like this one.
I like that one, yeah.
Where the grip will dip just a little bit to help your finger fit in there. Just a little bit of a comfort, make it more comfortable. And with the carved pins, I almost always will do an oil finish. because it is it's very difficult to do a glossy finish on something that's been hand carved. Now this is probably my favorite pen I've ever made. I just adore this design. I'll zoom in some more. I was able to get just wonderful texture on this orb. Then I have a little spiral carved around it. That awesome piece of burl wood.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Almost to the end.
Do you have any rainbow pens?
I've always wanted to do some dyed rainbow pens, but I haven't yet. I have a lot of dye, but there's just so many things that I want to do. I get overwhelmed very easily. Let's see. Now this is that pin I was talking about earlier. The inlaid brass dots.
Mm.
If I remember right, I think it was
I like it.
183 dots.
Wow.
Wow.
That's one of my favorites I've ever made. Then I have this one. Oh, let me zoom out. Another one of the carved black buck antlers. I absolutely love it.
Some of these look like more like wands.
I get that quite a lot.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Expecto Patronum.
I got a lot of inspiration for that pin holder from another pin maker, Hugh Hong Dao. Is that right? Hugh Hong. But he did a pin like this, but the tail was based off of the Elder Wand, and I really loved that that design he did, but I wanted to modify it to make it my own. So I looked towards the nature. I always loved this antler. I was able to see the antlers in person because there's a outdoor store not too far away from my house, or that they had some taxidermized ones that I was able to look very closely at the antlers and to study them. I love that design. I think this is one of the only crushed opal ones that I have currently, but you can see how that glistens.
Yes.
That's incredible.
And this again is based off of the Magnusons. That's just about all the pin holders that I have to show. Oh, this is about the last one. This is a really crazy one that I've made. This is for myself. It's a ergonomic pin. That wraps around my hand.
Okay.
That's what it needs.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it needs.
I couldn't figure that one out.
Yeah,
The heck?
it's quite unique. I really
That's
wanted to have
awesome.
something that has the connection like that. But I like it. I don't use it very much, but it's just so cool. This is a kind of grotesque one. This is really quite disturbing to look at, actually. But this is a just horrifying pin that I made.
A trick-or-treat pin.
Yeah, I made it around Halloween, but it fits really well in the hand, but I don't use it very much because it's kind of creepy.
I like those kind of pins.
I made each of these eyeballs individually.
Isn't that cool? I like that. Yeah.
I inlaid a piece of white plastic, and then I did a hole in the white plastic, and I inlaid a piece of black into that. And then I tapped just a little bit of a finish on top of them to make them shiny. It's quite horrifying. Here's one of my personal pins. This one's I love the design on this one, but I don't like the finish. It's a double helix that I carved. It took so many hours to carve this pin, but quite. I wish it was a matte finish instead of glossy. But I think that's just about all the pins I have to show.
Quite a collection.
We even also mention the nibs when you do about the flex nib. If you have one, I don't know.
So with the nibs, the most popular one that I set pretty much all of my flanges to is the EF principal nib. Let's see. This is a wonderful nib. It's perfect for pretty much any type of flexible writing. It's they're pretty expensive though. I think they're $2.50 a piece. If you can't afford that, is this one? Yes. The Hunt.
Are you meaning like $250?
No, that's $2.50.
Oh, okay. Dang, $250. Whoa. Can you
if you order a Gras, 144 of them, it's about $215.
go.
But the Hunt 101 is about I think it's $1 or $1.50 a piece. They're a little more affordable for flexible writing.
And the G nibs are like 99 cents a piece.
The G nibs are also very nice.
Yeah.
The Nico G is, I think it's my favorite. I'm not the biggest fan of the Zebra because it's so stiff.
Yeah, that's right.
The Nico G is a little bit more forgiving. This is a Nico. That's a Zebra. Sorry, they're all dirty.
Do you have any gold nibs?
I do, but I've never used it in an oblique or outside of its holder. Where is it at actually? It's there it is. I actually just got this one in an auction a week or two ago because it was included with the Magnuson that I have. But this is just an antique gold nib. It's not very flexible, but it is soft. But
I have this pearl jeweled one. Pearl.
There, but that nib sampler I was showing earlier. Is this on my desktop now?
Yes.
Yeah.
This sampler here, if you just look up in 154 pointed nib sampler, this will take you to that on John Neal books. And each of these nibs are perfect for flexible writing. If you want super flex, the Browse Rose is the most flexible nib, I believe. It's a little harder to use, but it is super flexible.
Also, the Hunt 99 is like a wet noodle.
Okay, I haven't used that one before.
I don't like it. It's too noodle-like.
Yeah, the Rose is very difficult. Was there any other questions?
Does anybody have any other questions?
I think that's just about all I have.
You sure? I thought there was a few more. Okay. Anybody else? Frank?
I'm good.
Marilyn?
I'm good.
And that means no.
Well, when you decide to make a rainbow pen, hit me up. Everyone I know that makes pens, I'm always like, make me a rainbow pen. Just do it.
I will I will put it on the list. I have so many things I want. I'm getting some more woods in the mail in a few days, but I have everything I need to do the rainbow pins. But I'll try and make some. I actually have some blanks that I could use right here. That let's see. Turn off the screen share. It starts with maple wood for the dyed pins.
You all right?
So you don't have to color the rainbows on the pins?
This is the only dyed one that I have right now.
Oh,
But this is a more what's it, mermaid colored.
that's cool.
I don't know if I have that one for sale because I just took it off my website at one point. I used to have a bunch of the dyed ones, but I've taken them all to sell at the in-person shop because they weren't doing too well. But yeah, I can do some rainbow ones.
It's very exciting.
Well, okay, folks, that's gonna wrap it up today. Any more questions?
Good.
It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lana, anything from the Lannis?
I'm good, thanks. Very interesting.
Marilyn?
This was very informative. I look forward to seeing your rainbow pens.
He's a broken record.
You've been trying for a couple of years.
Isn't that right, Frank? Broken record. Everybody that comes on, he asks for a rainbow pen.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
And it's only gonna cost you $500.
$100.
Oh. All right, Mr. Colby, anything else you'd like to add before we split?
Spilled water on myself. I think that's about it. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. It's been really fun to spiel about all my pins for a while. If you ever want me back on again, I'd be happy to talk more. If there's ever questions, I'd be happy to answer. And on my website, if you ever do want to order a pin or look at them or just ask about them, I'm always completely free to chat about the pins on my Etsy or on Instagram. I'll answer any questions you want. If you want a custom design pin, you can let me know about it, and I can help you design it. That's all for free. It doesn't matter if you change your mind or anything. It's completely complimentary to help you with the design. I like to do pins based off of objects around. I like to do bedposts. If you like to get like your parents' bedpost replicated or something, I like to do that.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can make one with a turtle on it.
Oh,
A turtle pin.
Ah,
that's interesting.
Why not? Let's go. I mean, and then for Lannis, you can make her a pelican bird pin. Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of like the thought of the turtle pin. It would be cool to do a turtle shell carving.
That'd be cool. Yep. Huh. All right, anybody else? Because I'm fixing to hang up and go have some watermelon.
Well, have fun eating watermelon. All right.
Have a good
All
night,
right,
y'all.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Be like mañana.